Parasha meditation, Parashat Ki Tetze. So that's actually my birthday party. I mean, my birthday party, my birthday parasha, which I therefore I can relate to it very much. It's the busiest parasha in the whole Torah, I believe. It has the most mitzvot, both positive and negative, and so that fits a bit with myself. I tend to be pretty busy, multitasking. There are 27 positive and 49 negative mitzvot, and most of them are on personal issues, which is a big part of my life, all kind of things with relationships, some difficulties and some good ones. And Parashat Ki Tetze is also about going into battle. I can relate to that as well. It seems like I'm always on a battle, whether it was, to just keep my midrasha going. That in itself has always been, there's been so many battles that I had to fight. Baruch Hashem, I won. We're going strong, 25 years, Baruch Hashem. But not been easy. And so even when I was young, I used to always argue with my father around the dinner table, and we would argue. And at that time, unfortunately, I used to defend the Palestinians' rights. That's when I was a teenager. I've come a long way since then. And so Parasha meditation, this week's Parasha, we learn never to give up. We learn that from the special pasuk that it says in the book of Yeshayahu, where it tells us that we have to, it says, look to the rock where you are hewn. Look to Abraham, your father, and to Sarah that bore you. They were the first to teach the principles of faith and perseverance. That even when there's no hope, there's still hope, never to give up. And so this is the principle we need to keep in mind when we go out to war, to overcome our spiritual enemies. And especially, this is the time the king is in the field, and we need to strengthen ourselves in Emunah and pull ourselves out of whatever difficulty that may make us feel stuck. B'ezrat Hashem, let us really ask Hashem from the depth of our pain to fulfill our needs, hopes, and aspirations, and to redeem us now. So the Parasha opens up with Ki Tetze L'milchama al oivecha. When you go out to wage a war, when you go forth to battle against your enemies, Unetano Hashem Elokecha be'edecha, and Hashem will deliver them into your hands. V'shavita shivyo, and you will take them captive. So the question in this sentence is why it has to say tetze, like that's even the name of the parasha, ki tetze, to go out. Should have just says telech, when you go. And Netivat Shalom explains the reason why it says when you go out, it is for the soul. It's talking to the soul. From the moment our soul went out from the upper realms into this physical world, the Torah is directing it to go out in order to fulfill its purpose by waging our personal war. The main reason why we are in this world is to overcome our natural and negative tendency. If a day goes by without battling our negative inclination, it's considered as if we didn't accomplish our mission for that day. And that's why the Torah verse states, against your enemies, and not just their enemies, like your particular enemies, because each and every person has their own particular spiritual enemies, and every moment and every day and every moment and every place and every situation as well has specific enemies that need to be overcome. And what's really important in order to be successful in any kind of war, including spiritual warfare, is to really believe that we have the ability to succeed. And we know that's the secret to to all the successes of the armies of Israel. That is like a miracle that can't be understood. It is that we have a belief. We have something we believe in, with something we fight for, and we have to believe that we can be successful. Be'ezrat Hashem. And I've seen it so many times, like if we don't think we can be successful, then we have already lost the battle. So we have to keep having emunah. That's what we have to do when we go out to war against our spiritual enemies with confidence in our ultimate victory. Then Hashem, your God, will deliver them into your hands. And so I mentioned earlier to my students today that I wish that I was born in Arizal's time, because you could just read my face and let me know exactly what my mission is. So Netivot Shalom explains that when we come to the next world and maybe live 220 and beyond, we're going to be asked, what did you accomplish in your life? And even if we learned a lot of Torah and did many mitzvot, unless we overcame our particular personal enemies, we didn't fulfill our mission. And this teaching strengthened me in my determination to discover my own personal mission and make a plan to fulfill it. How do we know? If we don't have a reason, how do we know what are our particular personal enemies that we have to conquer? What we have to do is we have to look at where our negative inclination is the strongest, where the place basically that's the hardest. That's where our negative impulse is overcoming us with otherworldly power. That's where our personal enemies are found. And so that's the entire purpose of our lives, is to go to battle and focus on overcoming them in the place where it's the hardest. So it's not enough to shoot in a war. We also have to aim and hit the bullseye so we won't waste bullets. So we need really to focus all our might on the point where the negative inclination is trying to overcome us the most. And just as a soldier enters into a war ready to give his life, if that's what it takes, we too need to be willing to go out of ourselves, complete mesirut nefesh, which means like complete self-sacrifice, in order to overcome our personal enemies and achieve our tikkun, rectification. And that's why our parasha opens with, when you go out, meaning when you go out of yourself, when we go out of our comfort zone and our natural tendencies, then we can transcend everything that's keeping us down. Gather all our energy and focus on our spiritual goal by turning away from all the distractions that sidetracks us. So we need to be ready to go out of our negative habits. They could have been formed in response to a certain difficult situation that we experience as children. But such reactions can turn into habitual behaviors that affect our character, even when sometimes the reason for these reactions no longer pertains. Still, those negative habits continue. So in order to overcome the enemy successfully, we need to totally go out of ourselves and our negative habits and to transcend our limited reality. Like we have to go to the other extreme, like Rambam teaches. So the first step is to find out, in order to be successful in waging against our spiritual enemies, the first step is take is to find out and become aware and conscious of our personal weaknesses, where our negative inclination is the strongest. And then we need to take preemptive measures to overcome it. It's much, much easier to conquer our negative impulse before it's gotten a hold over us. Just like it's much easier to use preventive medicine than to cure an illness that has already that's already there. So when you go forth as the name of the Parasha, Tetze, it teaches us to take preventative steps to go out and towards the enemy before the enemy takes us by surprise. Only if you go forth first and begin the war against your personal enemies, then Hashem, your God, will deliver them into your hand, like the continuation of that verse. The next step is to make a realistic plan and a firm decision to stick to it. So this month of Elul is the time that Hashem empowers us to carry out our resolutions. So now it's the time to work on fulfilling our personal mission by going out into the battlefield, beating our personal enemies in order to become closer to the King of Kings, who's waiting for us in the field with open arms. So now we're gonna do the actual meditation. So make yourself comfortable, take some deep breath. Take some slow cleansing breath in and out of your nose, letting the chair carry all of your weight. Relax, relax, relax even more. Now is the time to focus on the process of recognizing and overcoming your inner enemies. Become aware of the light above your head, Tetze, your crown, an umbilical connection to the higher realms. Observe the consequences of your attitudes, your thoughts and actions. Do you exert judgment on others or harbor any negative feelings? Imagine little black, fast-moving specks trying to enter your crown and invade you with their negativity. Can you identify these black specks? Scrutinize them deeply and carefully. Ask in your mind's voice, what created you? Perhaps a lack of emunah, self-doubt, confusion, or negativity created these black specks. Do not suppress any thoughts or feeling. Rather, observe, examine, and discover. Listen to where the words come from. When you speak negatively, what is the cause? Is it gossip, judgment, or another way to cover up your own insecurities? Allow the energy field of your crown to expand and push the black specks away. See them recede backward one by one until they disappear. Focus again on your breath and allow yourself to feel at peace. Envision the light in your heart in the shape of the most beautiful red rose. Visualize its petals unfold. It is the most exquisite rose until little black, but this is only until the little black bugs begin to eat away at its petals. Look at the bugs under an imaginary microscope. Scrutinize them and ask in your mind's voice, what created you? Is it the hatred, anger, jealousy, or grudge that I keep in my heart that gave birth to these destructive forces? Ask yourself, what is behind the anger? What is behind the self-defeat? What is behind the emptiness? Breathe into your questions and let it touch and get in touch with yourself and your spiritual weakness. Hold the self-knowledge about your personal enemies and make a decision right now to eradicate the enemies of your soul. Breathe love into your heart. Recite in your heart, I am beloved. I give out love and invite it in. Visualize a surge of light entering your heart, strengthening the rose to push away the black box. Visualize the black specks retract one by one as the rose in your heart keeps growing stronger and more beautiful. Its rosiness is increasing and its heavenly scent is filling you more and more with every inhalation. Keep breathing while focusing on the light surrounding your feet. Allow yourself to feel how your feet are firmly planted on the ground. Beauty is within, but something is in the way. What is the shadow blocking the light? Imagine your feet stumbling over a closed door. Are you ready to open that door? Keep breathing into the closed door and make a mental resolution to open it. Allow your inner light to separate from your spiritual enemies. Peel them off so your essence can radiate and shine. Now imagine gathering all of your strength to open the door and become immersed in your own higher hidden light. Tune into this fountain of your hidden strength, a divine, God-given strength that grants you the ability to overcome all of your spiritual enemies. When you're ready, open your eyes and with pen and paper in your hand, write down your revelation regarding your inner enemies. Include a realistic plan of how to conquer them. So we specifically read this Parasha, Parashat Tetze, during the months of Elul, which precedes the beginning of the new year. Rosh Hashanah celebrates not only the renewal of the year, but also the birthday of the creation of humanity. On our collective birthday, we engage in soul searching, reevaluate our lives, and ponder how to fulfill our personal mission. Each of us has our own special purpose and rectification for every single day. And this is also alluded to in the phrase, when you go out from the previous year towards the new year to battle your enemies. Now is the time to prepare for the war against the upcoming years, particular spiritual enemies within ourselves, in order to overcome our negative tendency and open a door to enter the book of life. Okay.